Hello, everyone. Welcome into another episode of the East Alabama Works video podcast series. I'm Carl Brady, and we welcome you into the program. Of course, East Alabama Works is the Region 2 Workforce Council for the East Alabama region, and we work with industry and business throughout the area on their workforce development needs, learning about their workforce needs, and then pass that information along in form of training and information to the community and all of those kind of things. And speaking of training, we have a program that has just completed its first school year. And I wanted to bring in Abby Howell, who's also with East Alabama Works, to talk about the Modern Manufacturing Program. Abby is the project manager for Modern Manufacturing. So, Abby, welcome into the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk about modern manufacturing a little bit. This is a program for high schools, modern manufacturing program. We can get this program into regional and area high schools, and students have an opportunity to start learning some skills that will benefit them after their high school days. But these skills are directly related to manufacturing and things like that. And we've had a successful first year. But let's go back to the beginning. Tell us, what is the Modern Manufacturing Program and how did it get started?
Sure. So across the state of Alabama, we have a lot of manufacturing. So manufacturing jobs make up the majority of the jobs across the state. And there is a group called the Alabama Automotive Manufacturers Association, and it consists of manufacturers in the automotive industry. So we have some automotive OEMs across the state, that's original equipment manufacturers, and they got together and they saw issues with the workforce pipeline. So they're growing, they're expanding, and they need workers. And a lot of the jobs that they have available do not require a lot of higher education requirements. It's a lot of on-the-job training. It's very hands-on. And so they got together and were trying to figure out how to tap into an area of the workforce that is the younger generation, because a lot of these jobs that are available to them are for an 18-year-old with a high school diploma can come in and be trained and work their way up. And so they all got together and they realized, hey, there's nothing that's being done in the state Department of Education to prepare students in high school for these extremely high demand, high wage jobs in the manufacturing industry. So when you think about career tech education, a lot of times you think about like construction or welding, maybe some cosmetology, some electrical. And so those are for those jobs that we have across the state, but nothing was being done in manufacturing. So manufacturers across the state got together, started working with some school systems, and they developed a curriculum with different components that had things that they felt like would be valuable for a student to learn in high school and come out with skills and some knowledge, basic knowledge of manufacturing that they would be able to come in and be successful in the workforce. And so we were able to get this program in our region because we have an automotive OEM, which is Honda, who is incredibly supportive of our program. And
Yes.
So in a nutshell, what we do is we get manufacturing classes in high school career tech so that they have skills and that they're marketable for the over 40,000 jobs that are in Region 2 in manufacturing.
And not only did the Manufacturing Association and the manufacturers involved in this put together the curriculum and say, we hope you'll do this. They provided some grants as well. Or where did that grant money come from to launch these programs?
Right. So the state of Alabama, actually in recognition of this workforce shortage, allocated funding to each region that has an automotive OEM.
Okay.
So whenever a school signs on with us for M&P, they're actually they get access to resources. So one of those is me. So I'm the project manager manager, and I work with them to get their classrooms outfitted. So any type of equipment or tools or textbooks or technology or anything that they might need to start this classroom, start this class, we take care of that for them. So that's a huge expense that they're not having to spend. And then I also will work with them to try to connect them to the local business and industry to have them come in and as classroom speakers, set them up on industry tours. Because one of the biggest things that we found when starting this program is that the education piece of manufacturing is huge. So a lot of times the general public, especially younger students, unless they have a family member that works in manufacturing, they don't necessarily know or understand what that is. So it's a huge hurdle to overcome, and making sure that they're educated that it's not old school manufacturing. It's not dirty, dark, and dangerous. They're very high tech jobs. They're not monotonous. There's so much opportunity for advancement. So when you sign on with us, again, we provide that direct connection to the industry to try to give these students every opportunity available to them.
And we could go ahead and mention here too the commitment. You mentioned how Honda was all in on this. The commitment from Honda has included, to this point, they've made 2 vehicle donations. There's another one coming up, but they have donated vehicles to these programs so that the students will have an actual vehicle to work on, take apart, put back together, and learn all the components. That really is an all-in indication from Honda.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have this past year we had 3 programs that were established, and so we were able to get vehicle donations for 2 of those programs. We would have had it for the third, but there was a space limitation at the school. But it was really awesome to see them donate vehicles to the classrooms and see how excited and engaged the students were. We had a good many Honda associates come and deliver the vehicles, but we had the opportunity to let the associates walk the students through how this was assembled, show them all the features, talk to them about tips and tricks, take things apart, show them. And it's really awesome. So they've been super supportive.
Talk about the schools and the programs that were established in this first school year of existence for MMP.
Sure. So our first two programs that launched in the fall were with Talladega City Career Tech, and we had a consortium program that launched as a joint effort between 3 school systems. So it was Oxford City Schools, Talladega County Schools, and Pell City Schools. And then those launched in the fall. Then we had another program that launched in the spring at Anniston High School. And we will have another new program launching this coming fall at Oxford City Schools. So it's been really great to see school systems work together. It's been really interesting. It's been a learning experience for all of us, with it being the first year, but we've been able to see a lot of fruit that's come from this first year. So we actually had 13 students be offered full-time jobs at Honda, which is really awesome. We had one student that was offered multiple competitive job offers from local industry. So obviously that's our goal, to make them marketable. And then we had some students that were going on to further their education in things like engineering and mechatronics. They were eligible to receive and were AMA scholarships in manufacturing. And so we've had some really awesome kids come out of this program. And honestly, the sky is the limit for them whenever they take modern manufacturing, because our local business and industry, they want them. They're very marketable.
Absolutely. They want workforce with some skills in place already that they can just plug them right in. And those that were offered jobs from Honda, if people understand the Honda hiring process, these are direct hire jobs. They're not having to go through the temp services and things like that. They're going straight to work for Honda full time right out of high school.
Yes. And so usually, if let's just say I decided to go work for Honda, I would have to apply through a staffing agency, and then I would have to potentially work there for 2 years before I would be eligible to be direct hired, which means that I would work there for 2 years without health insurance or 401k benefits. And so for an 18-year-old out of high school, the sky's the limit. And Honda does a great job. Like, they promote from within, and so a lot of the associates that I've worked with through this process talk about how you can go anywhere you want to in the company. There's so many different opportunities. If you start out on assembly but you maybe are interested in working with students, which is how I've come in contact with a lot of associates, you can be on their morale team and go to events, and they do like special projects. So they obviously support us so much through like our Worlds of Work event. And they had an associate who was able to create a racing simulator. They got the support from Honda. And so there's just so many different types of opportunities that are available to our students once they can get in the door, that they're incredibly supportive. It's amazing, the opportunities that are given to them, especially from Honda.
And you mentioned that some of the students do still intend to go on and further their education in a college setting, a community college or a four-year college setting. So by having this program and by participating in this program, it doesn't pigeonhole you into, oh, you've got to go to work for Honda when you leave, but it is a good beginning to further to higher education if that's your goal, especially if you're going to be something like an engineer or something along those lines.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is kind of what I like to say about, if you have gone through modern manufacturing, if you're an industry person and you see somebody that has got an application at your desk in 2 or 3 years that says they've gone through modern manufacturing, this is what this means. It means that they have gone through the ACE program through the Alabama Community College system, which basically makes them workforce ready. So it talks to them about things like ethical and social responsibility, safety, communication, leadership, different personality styles. It's what they could potentially have to go work anywhere. It just shows you they've been through some type of curriculum, that they know how to set off their cell phone, they know how to work with other people, they know how to communicate. They're basically an Alabama certified worker. It also lets you know they know basic tool identification. So they go through the NCCER core curriculum, which is a construction-based curriculum, but it teaches them a lot of safety, which is important in every single manufacturing environment. But it also, teaches them the difference between a Phillips head and a flathead, and they do safety with a lot of saws and things like that. And then they also go through the Manufacturing Standard Skills Council curriculum, and it teaches them about production, maintenance, safety, quality, all those things that are important in manufacturing. And like you said, it does not pigeonhole you in going direct to work. Obviously, we understand that every student's pathway looks different, but our ultimate goal is to get them a job. And there are many different types of education requirements, many different types of skill sets that are required for the vast array of jobs in manufacturing. And so if we've got somebody that wants to go be an engineer, they can go do their 4 years. They can come back, go to work for industry. And if they see that MMP certificate, that they have that basic foundation where they have the skill set and the knowledge, but that they've also furthered their education. At the end of the day, our goal is to get these students into jobs, whether that's direct out of high school, whether that's through a 2-year certificate, whether that's 4-year. Our goal is to not let them fall through the cracks and to make sure that they're on a pathway to get a job in a career field that we know that they can be successful in.
Absolutely. Now, for students in high school or for parents, when they take this program, some kids they've got extracurricular stuff. They've got choir, they've got sports, or they've got some kind of school activities, and maybe their pathway through school doesn't allow them to be a full-fledged CTE student. Now, isn't this a program that can be taken like as an elective as opposed to being a full-fledged CTE student? Am I correct in that?
I think it depends on your school system and however the counselors and CTE directors set it up.
Okay. So when you go talk to the kids and maybe their parents to promote this program, what's your selling point? What are some of the things that they need to know when they're looking at the possibility of taking this MMP class?
So usually what I try to talk to them about is I try to figure out what they're interested in, right? So I usually will ask them who's interested in manufacturing, and nobody raises their hand, which
Right.
goes back to that education piece. And I always take industry with me. So I will have industry talk about, what is their favorite thing about their job? What does the day to day look like on their job? How did they get there? Did they come direct from high school? What is an advice that they would give their 18-year-old self? And usually I just let the industry do the talking because, again, it's a huge education piece. And so I will talk to them about, kind of what their class looks like, what they're learning. And one of the biggest things that I do is I kind of run through a little bit of what I spoke about earlier, that the curriculum, like what are they going to be learning? And so I'll ask my industry people almost as a panel, like, hey, do you guys need to know about quality? Like, is that important in what you do? Do you guys have to know about maintenance? What about safety? So, and every single time, all of our industry professionals, yes, yes, so that they can make that connection that what you're learning is something you're actually going to be using. Because we all know the biggest thing in education when it comes to taking something new is, when am I ever going to use this? And so I try to make that connection. But again, I usually let our industry do the talking. I'll kind of facilitate it, but I want them to really know that this is a class, but it's a stepping stone to get somewhere else, and what you're learning, you're actually going to be using. And then I'll bring some like hands-on activities and let them actually do some fun things while they're there, because the last thing I want to do is promote a hands-on class and sit there and talk to them the entire time without getting them up and doing something.
Absolutely. And we recently had a signing day for the MMP students who are going on to go to work for Honda. So that's always exciting as well. Recognizing those students who have achieved this level of certification through the program, and there's nothing in the world wrong with going straight to work out of high school.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really great to be able to recognize them with their families, so that their families could come, they could see that industry support, because I know a lot of times a hurdle that we have to overcome is the education piece of, it's okay to go straight to work.
Mhm.
4 year or 2 year is not for everybody. And again, the goal is just to get them into the job. It's going to look different for everybody. So being able to have our industry support there and talk to them about how excited they were to have the parents, the excited they were to have their students, how supported they would be, the opportunities that are available to them, and just showing what a great opportunity that these students are being given through taking this program was really amazing.
So you mentioned another school being added for the next school year, but what's the next school year going to look like? What schools are involved again, and how do students get involved with these classes?
Sure. So in the fall of 2023, we will have a returning program at Talladega County Schools, Talladega City Schools, Anniston High School, and Oxford High School. So if you are a parent who has a student at one of these schools, make sure you mention it to your student. If you're a student at one of these schools and this is interesting to you, please make sure you talk to your career coach. We have amazing career coaches. I would not be able to do my job without them. Let them know, and your counselor, and they will see what they can do about getting you in that class. And if you happen to be listening and you're not at one of those school systems and you want it at your school, please make sure you talk to your local leadership. Let them know that you want this offered, you want to be able to take this class. And so that would be your CTE directors, your principals, your even your superintendents. Just let them know, because we're available. We're available to you.
And that was going to be my next question of how do you see MMP growing into the future? Are other school systems interested in talks, and how much do you see it growing as we move forward?
I think after this first year, once you can see some tangible results of the program, which is our students getting job offers, our students getting hired, our students getting scholarship funding, I see it growing exponentially, especially because we have Honda associates that live all across our region, and they have students that are in our school systems where the program's not offered. And I've got a lot of push from our local business and industry to start getting into the school systems where it's not. And so I think once we've started seeing some success and seeing the tangible results, and we have other, school leadership seeing, hey, like this is the majority of these jobs in this region, and this is getting students hired, and that's our job, is to get them into the workplace. I see it. The sky's the limit.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts before we wrap up? Anything we didn't talk about that we need to mention?
I just want to say that if you're a supporter of MMP, I just want to personally thank you. If you are a Honda associate who has come and helped me recruit at a school, if you're a school system that was a first adapter of MMP and took the chance on offering this new program, like I genuinely cannot thank you enough, because once you drink the MMP Kool-Aid, like you really just don't ever go back. And so we have some incredibly supportive industry personnel, school system leadership, career coaches, superintendents who have made this possible. It absolutely would not be possible without our industry support and our school systems. And so I just want to give a nod to all of those individuals and leadership who has been able to make this happen in our region, because obviously it would not happen without them.
Absolutely. Well, Abby, thank you for being with us on the podcast today. And we look forward to seeing modern manufacturing continue to grow across the region and help these kids get more and more skills and certifications that are going to lead them into a successful career as they go forward and start having families and needing to support their families, and hopefully they can find a career pathway they love.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks for having me, Carl.
All right. That is Abby Howell, the Modern Manufacturing Program Project Manager for East Alabama Works. And I'm Carl Brady. Thank you for joining us for the East Alabama Works video podcast series. We'll see you next time.